Welcome to the Connected Growth Coaching Podcast, where we support women to rediscover who they are so they can thrive in all parts of their lives. Your hosts, Jen Heilman and Amanda Kingsley, share with you unique life coaching resources centered around the power of the mind and the ancient practice of feng shui. All right, woohoo!
All right.
Podcast time.
Woohoo!
Today, what are we talking about today? Actually, Jen and I just got off a call with a client in perfect timing because what we're talking about today is the running in circles thing, right? Like the spiraling, the
hamster wheel.
Yeah, you're just like feeling kind of stuck. And the reason I bring up this client is that she just said to us, like, I want to exit the struggle bus.
I love that. I love it.
Awesome?
It just describes to a T what exactly we're trying to accomplish in people's lives, right?
So good. So we hadn't actually put those words in our notes until we got off that phone call, but we're like, that's just it. That's what we want to talk to you about. Those are the tools we want to give you in the work that we do. So let's talk a little bit today about getting off the struggle bus.
Yeah, right? So many of us are on it, right?
Yeah.
It's just this perpetual motion. The schedule never ends. The schedule never stops. You know, you're just constantly like from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And it doesn't ever feel like there's time to rest. There's no time for me. There's no support, you know, and just Groundhog Day.
So it's like Groundhog Day, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like classic Groundhog Day, or some other things that come up, like some things you'll notice if you're in this place and maybe going like, oh, I wouldn't really call it the struggle bus, or I don't quite feel like I'm running in circles. If those don't resonate with you, it's the same thing as like feeling like you're always playing catch up, right? Like I'm never quite getting ahead. I'm always trying to catch up. It's like one day to the next, I'm just trying to get through. Or another place it can look like is like a lack of passion.
Yeah.
Like
joy, right?
Yeah, like I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surviving.
But it doesn't feel good.
But I wouldn't call it thriving.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, there's no forward momentum. There's no growth. Like, cheers that we're not, you know, it could be worse, but it's not so good.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel like there's any progress or there's any purpose to it. It's just getting through the day so that you can be, you know, just, I don't know, just even like you get through the day and you get through dinner and then you sit on the couch and then you got to start all over again, right? And it just, none of it feels good.
Yeah. No good. No fun.
There's no fun. There's no joy. Yeah. So I guess our message to you, to the people who are listening, is that it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. Right.
It doesn't have to. It's, first of all, it's normal and okay and superhuman for it to feel like that right now, especially in the culture that we live in. I know a lot of our audience are mothers or parents, so a lot of us are in this place. Jen got to my house this morning and I was like, I have no idea how I'm getting my kids where they need to go today, because there's a lot of circles to run in.
Right. Exactly. 3 different directions and only one mom.
Yeah. I mean, it's normal. There's nothing wrong with you if you're in this place, but if you don't want to be here anymore, there's tools to get out.
Yeah.
Right? Like just because it's okay doesn't mean you can't put the energy into shifting it and making it feel really good, right? So this morning, I definitely felt like I was running in circles, filling out paperwork, writing checks, trying to navigate schedules. But I don't feel stuck in that place at all right now. Like, I just felt it and moved on. And there are tools to get past that spiraling.
Right. And I think a lot of times the spiraling perpetuates, right? The Groundhog Day perpetuates because we don't recognize that we're in this perpetual pattern of not feeling fulfilled and not feeling joy.
It feels like the new normal.
Right, exactly. You just start to, notice when you start to question, wait a minute, is this what it's supposed to be like?
Exactly.
Like, is this what my life is meant to be?
For.
Right. Is this what I signed up for? Yeah, exactly. I remember those days very clearly.
Yep.
And just being like, what is going on here? Like, how did I get here? Like, am I just the servant in the house? Like
here I am cooking and cleaning again.
Yeah, exactly. And just not feeling that sense of fulfillment and not feeling like I was making any progress in my life. There was no room for growth, that kind of thing. And I think humans really need to feel progress and accomplishment in their lives, in their lives. And so that is a really wonderful place to be in, because you feel like those feelings of fulfillment and joy and happiness when you are making progress.
Right. When there's passion, when there's purpose, when there's curiosity, like instead of being like, oh, I know what comes next, I cook and clean again.
Right. Exactly.
Instead you're like, ooh, what's next? Like, what am I going to find around this corner? Right. Even today, this morning when Jen got here and I was like, man, I'm in the human struggle. The question in my mind is like, what's going to show up to get me out of this? And it always does, because I asked that question, right? And so I think that it's so normal in our culture for us to bump into somebody in our life and talk about the Groundhog Day, talk about the struggle, talk about the frustration, and continue to spiral.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because most of us are surrounding ourselves with people who are just perpetuating that problem.
Right.
And so notice where in your life people are making that struggle normal or wanting to dig into it with you. Like, we all need a girlfriend who's like, yeah, I know, sucks. But we also need a girlfriend who's like, yeah, I hear you, sister. Let's find our way out.
Right. Yeah.
So we hope that this podcast is that for some of you, and that you can start to look for more and more of that in your life, because it's not supposed to feel like running in circles.
Right. Exactly. And you can start small. I know for me, I just by creating my top 3, in my list of things to do for the day, I would, as I was sitting down with a cup of coffee, maybe while my daughter's bagel was toasting or something, I would write down the top 3 things that I needed to accomplish during that day.
Yep.
And being able to, even if it was, get the laundry, into the drawers, like whatever it was that I needed to get done that particular day, being able to cross that off my list gave me a sense of accomplishment and progress. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
it's like, I said I was going to do something, I did it, and now I feel good.
Right.
What else can I say I'm going to do?
Right.
Do and feel good about.
And celebrate the wins, right? We talk a lot
about
if
you
that.
Didn't watch our video series last week, you want to make sure you get access to that. Yeah. So good stuff in that video series.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot about that. Celebrate your wins. Look for the miracles. You don't have to feel like you're running in circles. So, all right, let's take a little break, and then we'll come back with some, mindset, journal work, and some feng shui.
Yay.
Yippee. Let's face it, no 2 lives are the same, and there are no one-size-fits-all tips and tricks. We love connecting with you on the podcast, but remember that if you want game-changing results, one-on-one coaching is where it's at. You can access our programs at connectedgrowthcoaching.com, and we will walk you through the unique circumstances that arise in your life and your home. All right, we're back. Okay, so the first thing that I would suggest you think about, the first thing that I would ask you to kind of wrap your head around is, what small change can you make? So what change can I make to switch things up? Like, where do I need to put a little curve in the circle, right? Put a little extra like a crack in the circle? Where do I need to change just one little thing so that I don't feel like I'm repeating the same day over and over again, the same struggle over and over again? Because sometimes the shift you need to make is much smaller than you think. You can sort of be wrapped up in the stress of it and the chaos of it and the overwhelm and think there's no way out. I would need a miracle, right? Like I would need to win the lottery, or I would need to find a new partner, or I would need to, my kids would need to be out of high school. Or,
right. Extremes,
like,
right?
Yeah, you're like, exactly. There's no way I could get out of this unless some huge thing happened. But that's not the truth. The truth is that it's the subtle shifts, it's the little changes that really start to change those patterns, right? Like the pattern we're in, the Groundhog Day, the spiraling, the circling, they just need a little attention. It's like, who can I ask for help, right? Maybe I can get someone to take my kid to school instead of making that commute every morning. Maybe I can ask for a little help on a project at work. Maybe I can take a bath every night. Maybe I can start journaling. Some little change that you can consistently show up to every day. And that's why you don't want to make it too big.
Right, exactly.
Because if you make it big, you can't stick with it, or you can't ever get to it. So what small change can you make to bring a little more passion in, to allow yourself to start dreaming? Like we said about who are you hanging out with, right? What book can you read that's going to have a little different perspective than, whoever keeps feeding you the same, this is tough stuff. You need this is tough stuff, let's figure it out together, versus this is tough stuff. Oof. Why are we doing this? Yeah. This is terrible.
Right. Exactly.
What did we sign up for?
Right. Exactly.
So that's really what I would encourage you to think about as you're doing the feng shui work that Jen's going to talk about. Just think of what small change. And again, asking for help, finding something with self-care, making time for a passion. Those are all super important.
Yeah. And so with the feng shui, oftentimes when you do the feng shui, it opens you up to what that idea is supposed to be, right? All of a sudden, if you're struggling in that mental space of, I don't know what that thing is, doing the feng shui and actually manipulating your space can open you up, and all of a sudden the solution presents itself.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to be in our helpful people area, and the helpful people area is all about being supported. It's really about finding those mentors. Amanda just mentioned those books, right? The books are key,
a
right?
Podcast,
right? Exactly.
A YouTube channel, right? Something to introduce new ideas,
new perspectives, new ways of being.
Yep.
And so the helpful people area really opens those avenues. Like it's your connection to that higher power, your higher self, that universal energy. This is literally like a clean pathway to that. And so by doing some work in that area, taking notice about what's going on in there, if there's any blocks or things like that, but adding certain elements, like the supportive elements for that particular area are metal and water. So you can add those things in there, and that's making sure that there's nothing destructive in that area, like too much fire, because fire melts water and it depletes water. I'm sorry, did I say that right? Fire melts metal.
Yep.
And fire depletes water. So those types of things. The color gray is really awesome in that space, or the color silver if you like something a little more sparkly. But just taking a look to see, like, are you in that space? Like, are you cultivating an energy of support and bringing in?
I love that. Yeah. Are you cultivating an energy of support? That's yummy.
Right? So yeah, super important in that particular space. So having, like I said, if you're struggling, to get those what is the crack in the wheel, right?
Yeah.
The crack in the hamster wheel. Doing some feng shui in that space will open those ideas up, and it's just magic. Yeah.
And I think when you're doing the feng shui, I like to remember that even when I feel alone, I'm not alone. Like there's someone, we're in community, right? Like even at those times where you feel like nobody gets it, nobody understands how hard this is, you're not alone. There are people out there who understand it, and more importantly, there are people who want to help you through it. Yeah. So remember, you're not alone. We're supposed to do this in community and with support. Yeah. And we hope that this podcast is that for you. Some community, some support, just little shifts to make your life a whole lot better.
Yeah, I think that, in our society right now, we're so zeroed in on trying to do it all by ourselves, right? And it's just not meant to be that way.
Nope, it's not.
Yeah.
Jen and I are learning that lesson very, very clearly right now and making some big shifts, and we're feeling the power of that already.
Yeah, huge shifts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth stepping out of your comfort zone and asking for help.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Exactly.
All right, until next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
As always, thanks for listening. If you learned something today that can help the people in your circle, please help us get the word out by sharing. When you leave us a rating and review on iTunes, it not only warms our hearts, but it helps people find us. We are eternally grateful for your support, and we're looking forward to connecting with you next week. Until then, you can find the show notes at www.connectedgrowthcoaching.com. You can grab your journal and then get your shui on.